Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another craft day. Well, today we're going to be doing a couple of how-tos from a lot of questions that I've had, and I have promised people I would show this before and I just haven't got around to it. We're going to have two parts actually to this video. Both of them done today. It's not a two-part video, just two things. The first one, we're going to show how to create your own wreath form using the Dollar Tree wreath forms that you get, and chenille stems, pipe cleaners, however you want to call them. Several people have said, how do you put them on, how many do you put on, and so on. So we're going to do that. And then after that, we're going to do some bows. I think I've got a few bows to show you today that are kind of fun, especially the first one, which is a bow for people who can't tie bows. That sounds good. I like that. So give me a second. I'm going to take you down to the counter and we'll get busy creating our wreath form. Before we go, and before you go, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Give me a like at the end of this video, and I will be glad to hear your comments. So hang in there, I'll be right back. Okay, here we are down here with our 14-inch wreath form from the Dollar Tree. Let me just get rid of this tag. And I'm not going to use this right now, but I think what I'll do is I'll do brown, because then I can use it for one of my fall wreaths down the road. So let me take out some chenille stems. Two, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. 18 is what you should need for one of these forms. There are 10 on the bottom and 8 on the top. Now I'm going to be using this wire and this wire for the bottom, and then I will use this wire and this wire for the top. And the reason I use two wires is because it helps them stay a little bit more steady. So this one I'm going to go around, and I've got these pretty well even here. Okay? But now I'm going to twist. And when you do that, one ends up a little shorter than the other. Can you see that? Now I'm going to take that short one and I'm going to spread it out to the side. And that's where my next one is going to go. Okay? Give it a twist. And sometimes with this bottom row, I find it easier to twist the form. It gets it tighter for me. Again, this is shorter. Come over. And this is where my next one's going to go. And if you're not measuring that way, they are about 4 to 4.5 inches away from each other. And they will move a little bit sometimes. Let's just see here. Now see, this one was way up here. Okay. And that is just 4 inches. And that is just 4 inches. Okay, so if you want to do it that way, you can do it that way. Right here. Okay, I'll measure it out here. I got a little close, it moved it over when I started twisting. So I'll just move this over a little bit. And if you think they've moved too far away, just bring your ruler out and get your 4 inches. Now, some people like to put a little bit of hot glue on these. I don't, because, you know, if I'm making wreaths for myself, and especially those that are used outside, I sometimes take them apart and use the frame again. Because if they've gone outside in that hot Florida sun and faded, which they will, even when they're sprayed, then I don't want to keep them, and I just take them apart and use the frame again. There, we're almost around. And like I said, these will move a little bit sometimes when you start to use them, and you just move them back. Once you've got the right amount on there, you can move. Move them to get them even. What have I got here? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's the 10. Now this is a little bit far away, so I'm just going to scooch this over a little. Put that one over and that one over. There you go. So there's your 10. Now when I start the upstairs, I just start, and you'll see how that's moving a little. That'll go away. I mean, when I get this mesh in here, okay? So when I go up here, I'm just going to start by going in between one of these. Okay? And I'm going to get it even. Now I'm on the top 2 wires. Let's start right here. There we go. Same thing. Twist it around, put one down and measure it. Twist it around. Put one down and measure it. There still should be 4 inches apart. You hear trucks out here. They're trimming the palm trees. Let me just check. This one looks, that one is a little bit far. We'll just move it over. There we go. There's 4. This one is a little bit far. Now see how this has gone way over here? Well, you're just going to move it back when you start to work with it. And like I said, some people like to put hot glue, and that's fine. So, but if you remember the 4 inches, you'll be all set. And one more, I'm going to split the difference. And there you go. So, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 on the top. And 10 on the bottom. And that is the same as that you would find on, let me just get one down here. Ugh. A work wreath that you get from the store. Okay? These are obviously the big heavy ones, but anyway, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And this one is $5, $6. And this one was $1.25. And then the pipe cleaners, which of course aren't that much. So there you go. There's a wreath form. Anytime you have a wreath form, any size basically, you just want, now this is the 14, the one I showed you from the store is a 15, so they're pretty comparable. If I were using a 12-inch, I still want to keep these pretty well close together, but it wouldn't make 10 because the circumference isn't quite so big. Okay? So there you go. Wreath form, how-to number 1. Back in just a second for how-to number 2. Okay, here we are. The first bow I'm going to show you is for people who can't tie a bow. And this one came, I'm going to call this Dave's bow. And you can see this is just some leftover ribbon. And the reason I'm calling this is that I saw this on a website, and I believe the name was Dave's Wreath. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to start, now this ribbon is pretty much the same on both sides. So we're just going to start by making a loop and a fairly small loop. And you'll see why. And this is, like I said, leftover ribbon, so it's got a mind of its own. Okay, here we are. I made one loop this way, and I came back and made another one that way. You see? One here, and this one here. Now they do overlap a little. Now I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to put my finger at the end of this, right here. And then I'm going to bring this back over my finger. And what that did is make this next piece that I'm making just one finger width bigger than the last one. And I'll do the same thing on this side. Okay? And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to go to the end, put my finger down, bring the ribbon back. And I have to keep straightening this out a little bit because it's been used. Okay, I'm coming over here, put my finger down, and come back. Let's make one more. Now I'm going to come over here to find the end, put my finger down, come back. And I come over here to the end, put my finger down, and come back. And I'll come back just a little bit further than the center this way, this time. All right. So now I'm going to cut this off. And I'm going to cut a piece here that will be a tail. And you can cut it as long or as short as you want. And I'll dovetail this. It's a good thing with the wired ribbon, you have a little time you can play with it and make it come back the way you want it to be. Okay, so we'll set this aside for just a minute. So now I have finished with this. Now I'm just going to gather it in the middle, and I'm going to use a zip tie. I think Dave used a chenille stem, which is fine too. And I'm sorry I did not have the zip tie out. There we go. So I'm coming around. And I'm going to come in tight. But I'm not going to go quite all the way in yet, because now I'm going to take my tail and go under. Probably is a little easier to do with a chenille stem. Now I'll tighten it down. Okay, doesn't look like much now. Now, when I turn it over, let me just get my tails down. What I did with this, which is different than when you usually make a bow, is I made it from the inside out. In other words, I started with the short one and then worked up to a big one. And normally what you do is you're doing it just the opposite. So now I'm just going to go and fluff out each one of these. And of course it doesn't make any difference what size ribbon you use. You could use 2.5 or 1.5. Okay? And like any bow, you're just going to play with it till it looks the way you want it to look. And you can twist these pretty good because the zip tie is holding them. And there you go. And I will fiddle with it more. But you can see, no holding, twisting involved. And it just makes a really pretty ribbon bow. And of course with my previously used ribbon here, my tails are a little bit wonky, but I can always iron those if I were going to be putting it on something. Isn't that cute? Now I'm going to show you one more time and show you what happens when you don't have ribbon that you can use both sides. For instance, we have this ribbon, and this ribbon is one-sided, okay? So I'm going to just go the same as I did before. Let me just cut off this dovetail. Make a little loop here, and I make a little loop there. Okay? But now I'm on the wrong side if I come back. So when I got to the middle, I'm going to have to twist it right here in the middle. And now I will do the same thing. I will take my finger, hold it down, come back to the middle, and twist it. So what happens is that every time you come back to the middle, you need to twist it. Get to my finger, hold it down, bring the ribbon over, back to the middle, and twist it. So that the good side is always facing down, okay? Okay. Now I'm going to twist the whole thing. Cut it off. Get my zip tie. Make a little bit longer tail this time. Put the two ends together, fold them both over, go from the inside to the outside. And scooch them under that. And And again, I'm working at the back of the bow, so I want to make sure these are headed in the right direction also. This is really cute, just like it is actually, isn't it? It's like, it looks like a big bow tie. We could call it a bow tie. Dave's bow tie. Get the fingers in here. And there you go. Isn't that a pretty bow? No tying involved. So there you go. I make that bow anytime and it would look pretty on a wreath. Let me just get rid of this zip tie. Or it's also a pretty package bow for your Christmas packages or birthday packages. So that's the Dave bow, or the Dave's bow tie bow. I'll be right back. I've got another one to show you. Okay, I'm cutting a few pieces of ribbon, and you can see I haven't got very much left on these. Let's see if I can get 20. This mat is 24. If I can get that, I will. But if I can't, I won't. And let's see, get this one. And let's see. How about this one? There's not much left on this one either. I already got that one. Got a denim. One, two, three, four, five. Let me get 6. Okay, now this is the funky bow, and I'm going to get a zip tie out before I get started. Now, the funky bow originally by Julie Samako over at Southern Charm Wreaths was made to use leftover ribbon. Now, there's not enough ribbon on any of these rolls to really make a bow, with the exception of a couple that I had there. So we're going to use just pieces of them to make a bow. There you go. And I've got 2 of them that are 2.5 inches and 4 of them that are 1.5 inches. Doesn't make any difference what they are. And I'm just going to start randomly. And I think I'll start with, like, let's see, if I do, I'm going to cut this in half. There's a piece of tape on this ribbon. I don't know where that came from. Probably was holding it closed on the roll. I'm going to make a six-inch loop. Okay, So that's what I've done. I've made my loop. But all of my ribbons may not be the same size. So I'm not going to worry about the tails, okay? So now I'll just take the next one. Now this one, I will turn them all, even if they don't need it. Let's make this one in half. Get a 6-inch loop, and I'm going to go this way. Okay? Now let's do a wide one. Get it in half. Six-inch loop. And I will go this way. And I'm putting them side by side, not on top of each other. They're going down into my fingers here. Sorry. Down into my fingers. Now I have to turn this back piece around. And that loop seems to be a little bit big to me. Okay? Now this was only a short piece. Okay, so I haven't got much of a tail on that one. And I didn't turn this one. Oh, this is a glittery mess one. And the last one. Okay, let's take our zip tie. And I'm coming around to the back, holding the ribbons at the same time. And there you have the original funky bow. Now you can go around. Now I think for this 1.5 ones, I'm just going to make an angle cut. In fact, I think I'll angle cut all of them. There you go. Isn't that pretty? These kind of bows are good for like your lantern toppers because they're round. Leftover ribbon. Pretty bow. Okay, I have one more. And this one I'm going to use some of this bee ribbon. Well, no, I guess I won't. Look at that. I should have used that on the other bow. I'll use some more of this. Okay, I am going to make a loop here. Okay. And I'm going to come up and I'm going to make a loop here. Now I'm going to make another loop coming down. Okay. And another loop coming up. Zip tie, well, that's not going to work. What I want to do is I want to bring this around the middle. So I'm going to wrap it around the middle. There we go. Then I will bring it back here, cut it off. I'm going to start, I just measured it, okay? Now I'm going to start by putting my zip tie around. Bring this around, put it through the zip tie. And tighten it down. And this is, now I could also take another little piece before I put the zip tie. But see, that gives you a covered center. Now what I'll do here is I actually could use wire. Whoops. Sorry. And then it won't show so much. And then I will have something to attach it to my package. I'm going to take a piece of wire and I'm just kind of going beside that. Let me get rid of this. Put my my wire broke. Well, that's no good. Let's try that again. Obviously, I'm not leaving it long enough now to put it on the package, but I'll show you the tail. Maybe I hit it with my cutter when I was cutting the zip tie. I think that is a pretty bow. Now, if you didn't want to do it quite that way, all you have to do is to cut a little piece of ribbon and just wrap it around the middle and tie it in the back, because you're going to cut it off anyway in the back. There you go. How pretty. I like the covered center sometimes. And I didn't have to try to make a center loop. So there you go. There's some bows. Funky bow. A covered center bow. And 2 Dave bows. I think they're great. And lots of places to use them. So give it a try. Some of these, they're very simple. The funky bow and the Dave's bow, no tying whatsoever. This one is just getting that centerpiece can be a little bit tricky, but it's easy enough. So that's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got some good insights on how to do a wreath form and how to make a bow. I'll see you again on Friday. And until then, I hope you all have a great afternoon. Play by the rules, stay safe, and everybody, play nice now. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Love ya. Bye-bye.